Honorable.
Yes.
Why is oral going around inviting people and harassing people in the name of gathering information and data, according to what the minority has said?
Oral has not invited anybody. Oral has not harassed anybody. All of us, as dutiful citizens of this country, have a responsibility to cooperate with Oral. Sitting here, I can tell you, as a matter of fact, that presently I do not hold any position in government, but I have received many telephone calls signaling or pointing to some impropriety by previous government officials, which information I have passed on to Oral for the preliminary investigations. So we all have a duty. I mean, again, how did Oral come about? Oral is a product of the level of malfeasance, corruption, looting, and thievery, if you want, recklessness, wastage in the system that characterized the government of the Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. And so clearly, something ought to have been done about it. I mean, many people called on Nana Akufo-Addo to deal with the levels of corruption in his government. Indeed, it is. I mean, it didn't come to us as surprising that when the anti-corruption agencies said that the government was corrupt because for so many years the corruption perception index, our performance on the corruption perception index stagnated at about 43%. So clearly, this is a product of the manifestation of the rot in the system. So NDC addressed that and captured it in our manifesto, and particularly Chapter 6 of our manifesto that deals with governance. And so if you look at page 136 of the manifesto, you will find Oral. Oral is one of the promises the NDC made to the people of this country, and the president is intent on delivering on the promise. I've heard many people say that Oral is unlawful. Oral is an information evidence gathering platform. Simpliciter. And there's nothing, absolutely nothing illegal about that. Now, let's go to the Constitution. And particularly, Article 286 of the Constitution and 2864. And for the purposes of your
viewers,
I will read in verbatim what the article says. It says, any property or assets acquired by a public officer after the initial declaration. This is the conduct of Code of Conduct for Public Officers.
Yeah.
And it deals with assets.
Which article again?
Article 286.
Article 286 of the Constitution.
Clause 4.
Clause 4. Okay, 286 clause 4.
Deals with declaration of assets.
Okay.
After the initial declaration required by clause 1 of this article, and which is not reasonably attributable to income, gift, loan, inheritance, or any other reasonable source, shall be deemed. So on the face of it, on the face of the acquisition,
prima facie,
shall be deemed to have been acquired in contravention of the Constitution.
Okay.
So the Constitution says unexplained wealth. So that's the unexplained wealth provision.
Okay.
Tell me, so if Moro, you know a former government appointee who has acquired wealth by virtue of the occupation of a public office, what platform is available to you to report? Now, so we have the Whistleblowers Act of 2000 and 2006, Act 720. It says that, it's about the disclosures. It says when you see a public officer or anybody who has come into immediate wealth, which wealth you have reasons to believe has been acquired improperly, you have a duty
to blow the whistle on the
blow
person.
the whistle. Now, who do you blow the whistle? So you go to section 3(1)(p), and it says you can blow the whistle to the president. Now the president says, okay, so if you have that information, I'm setting up a committee. Send the information to that committee on my behalf. It will get to me. How is that unlawful?
Right.
How is that unlawful? I mean, I think that the people are not reading the laws and connecting the dots. The president is one entity under Section 3 of the Whistleblowers Act to whom you can make a disclosure. And the president is not sitting, he's not an ordinary man sitting in an office. Yeah. So he says, okay, yes. And so far, more than 700 petitions. I see what the president has done, the establishment of oral, as the boldest step so far in fighting corruption. And if Bawumia was coming with bold solutions, this is one bold solution, enabling the people, empowering the people to make disclosures. Look, the Whistleblowers Act, as amended, says there must be a fund that if a recovery is made, those persons who are blown or disclosed are to be rewarded.
So that's the Whistleblowers Act. It was just displayed on the screen.
Yes, are to be rewarded. But in this case, public-spirited persons who simply believe that a lot of corruption, a lot of looting has gone on in this country, are electing to make these disclosures available to the committee without even invoking the provisions of the Whistleblowers Act. They just want the loot recovered. And people are jumping heads over tails to say that it's illegal. Can that be illegal? How? In my view, the oral is founded on the Constitution because people have reasons to believe that persons who were given opportunity to serve this country abused their offices and expropriated public resources for their own benefit. The Constitution frowns upon it. If it is witch hunting, it is the Constitution which is witch hunting these people. Because the Constitution says there's a presumption of malfeasance.
Oh, malfeasance, okay.
Immediately, your assets, your assets are more than what you declared.
Your income.
Your income. This is there's a presumption of culpability.
Yeah.
So you have to come to show how you got. That's why the Constitution sets out the parameters. Can you attribute it to salary, your income? Can you attribute it to your gift? Is it a loan? Is it inheritance? If it cannot, so
you have questions to answer.
You have questions to answer. So what is illegal about that? Thirdly, my brother, oral has come to say, look, we gathering this evidence. When we finish gathering the evidence, we are sending the evidence to the Attorney General. So we're sending it to the President, who will then send it to the Attorney General's office. And we are lawyers. forum convenience. You want to recover loot. Is it by court? Is it through the Internal Revenue Authority? Is it organized crime, Yoko? The Attorney General will have to determine the forum convenience. In fact, the Attorney General will conduct further investigations to establish a prima facie case before it refers. Is it the Office of the Special Prosecutor?
The appropriate institution. Agency, to deal with it.
No, some people have simply looted the state by not paying the requisite taxes, even though they are engaged in lawful commercial transactions. So, if information reaches ORA that some people have imported tons and tons of goods into this country without paying the requisite tax, that is money laundering. Is it the revenue authorities or is it IOCO? Now, I will think that, well, if that information comes, it's tax that they have not paid. And tax avoidance is an offense.
Yeah.
So, what did they do? You refer them to the tax authorities. And if it was done deliberately with the connivance of public servants who benefited from it, then that becomes a matter for prosecution. But the forum convenience will be to send them to the tax authorities to see whether, because you are going to recover. If you fail to pay the requisite tax to government, even though you are doing lawful commercial activities, you have looted the state. Now, if it is organized crime, you got people and they were going around the country selling public lands and pocketing the money, because the land is held in trust for the people of this country. You might want the Economic and Organized Crime Office to look at it. Say, why did they repeatedly commit those crimes? But ORAL must gather the evidence to satisfy the government, the president, and the Attorney General that there has been systematic looting or commission of a crime which ought to be investigated. And that's a platform.
Okay.
It is a platform.
I think you've simplified it.
Yeah, it's a platform.
And you've made it very clear.
It's a platform.
I don't know that you just...
They don't have they don't have prosecutorial powers.
No, they don't.
No, it's just the president and the Constitution.
Yeah.
Constitution, Article 58. Article 58 of the Constitution. And let's read it for our...
Article 58
of the Constitution, and particularly Article 58 too.
Okay.
So that people to know that if the Whistleblowers Act says you can disclose acts of malfeasance to the president can establish a committee to receive. So, Article 58(1), the executive authority of Ghana shall vest in the president and shall be exercised in accordance with the provisions of this constitution.
Yeah.
The executive authority of Ghana shall extend to the execution and maintenance of this constitution and all laws made or continued enforced by the constitution. So, the Whistleblowers Act is a law made under this constitution.
Right.
Subject to the provisions of this constitution, the functions conferred on the president by clause 1 of this article may be exercised by him, the president, either directly or through officers subordinate to him.
Right.
So you can go Whistleblowers Act, you can disclose that directly to the president or through officers subordinate to him. Who are the officers? The 5-member committee are subordinate to the president because he put them in place.
Okay.
So I don't know why they think that.
No issue.
And these are lawyers who are arguing this way.
Yeah.
They have not read the Constitution.
Okay.
They have not read the Whistleblowers Act.
All right.
Or simply, and then let me deal with.
Oh.
Just a few things.
I beg
just
you,
a few.
Honorable.
So the Courts, it is the Courts Act.
We have just 5 minutes.
It's the Courts Act that amended the lower courts, and then lower courts are a creature of statute.
Yes.
So if you want to bring the community tribunal system, you just need, and it is the Courts Act that repealed the circuit tribunals and district tribunals.
Yes.
So if you come back with a law to amend the Courts Act and insert community tribunals,
yes,
and because it's a creature of statute,
right?
Then juror system. I mean, you say that because the two other panel members are not lawyers.
All right.
Jurors are not lawyers, but they are trials of fact.
Honorable